we're still animals. We're still in an animal hardware. And that's something that's very fascinating because until the future really transitions our consciousness beyond this biological component of flesh, blood, sweat, gland, meat, bone, matter, we will always be attached to nature. And through that, you're going to start to realize there's certain things that science has not caught up to yet, but intentions,
Exactly.
frequencies, you know when an animal doesn't want you there.
Exactly.
Or you know when an animal wants love, stuff like that. And somehow the modern man has drifted away from these like sensibilities.
Episode 7.
Episode 7. Hold on to your butts. Let's lock into the pilot seat, boys and girls.
What does the
We
color
here
7?
live.
Which color does the number 7 make you think about?
Number 7?
Yeah.
It always makes me think about purple. Crazy?
Crazy.
Number 7 is purple. You know this.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's the crown chakra. That's the 7th chakra on the top.
Interesting. I would have said green, but seven purple works.
Green is like 4.
Okay.
Green is like 4 or 5. Yes, sir. You know your chakras. You're in India right now, brother. You're in the land of the chakras. You're in the origin of chakras.
Yeah. So yeah, to put the context in, right now we're in Pondicherry. Pondicherry, French colony. I mean, it used to be a French colony before. Now it's one of the touristic destination for Indian people. I've heard like Indian tourism is the majority of the tourism here, and like foreign tourism is 5% of people coming in. But well, Pondicherry is like kind of a bubble in India where there is calm, it's clean, and beautiful buildings. You can see right now we still like those colonial colors. There's a lot of beautiful colors, yellow, red houses.
Wow.
It's very nice.
Wow. It's like you're in the real life Earth version of Diwali. It's vivid out there.
So actually, yeah, Pondicherry is different than Auroville, which we'll talk later on. But Pondicherry is like the city next to Auroville. It's the
Nice.
Indian city. It's an Indian city. Auroville is not Indian.
Interesting. Auroville is like its own experiment in itself. They just use the land. They found a place to do this kind of experiments.
Auroville will be like Monaco in France, I would say, maybe.
Interesting. So it's just this whole world on its own. It's like its own civilization.
Yeah.
Or like the Vatican.
Yeah.
Is the greatest example.
Before talking more about Auroville and explaining more to the viewers, what is it the city about?
Let's welcome everybody. Yeah, let's welcome everybody back to the show. We didn't get a proper intro.
Exactly.
Where you at right now?
Pondicherry. That's what I say.
I know you're in Pondicherry, but where you at though? What part of the world are you in?
India.
India.
Yeah, India.
Eastern Hemisphere, Middle Earth.
Yes, sir. And you're back in Taiwan already, right? From Vietnam. Last episode you were in Vietnam.
Right. Back in Taipei, back in Taiwan, back in the swing of things. So everybody, welcome back to the Purple Matter Pod. If you're now tuning in, we about to tap into Armel's current expedition / adventure. A lot of things changing in the last week, but he's currently in the thick of things out there in third world India, as they describe it. But it very might well be an entirely different number attached to the world he's in.
And you talked about chakra in the beginning of the show, and I want to say a quick story that happened to me 2 days ago about chakras, and it's
really
a funny
already.
Story. Yeah. You're gonna have. I think the story is interesting to say. So, we are in the season of Diwali. Diwali, for people that are watching right now, it was on the 31st of October, I think. It's like the Indian Christmas. Everyone celebrates. But it's a celebration of light over dark, right? While in the Western world, there's Halloween. It's like the dark celebration, right? Here's the opposite, is light over dark. And so during this period is a lot of fireworks, a lot of people in the street. Pondicherry right now is super busy. There is so many people, good food, a lot of, it's like Christmas,
Amazing.
It's big festival. And
Amazing.
so being aware of this, I felt like the universe brought me a lot of different situations where I could see the difference between light and dark. I could see people who were coming with lights, and like you could see they had an amazing intention, and they had like they were here for the good. And then on the other side there were people that were more on the darker side, and you could see directly that their intention wasn't good. And one of the example was my mom's friend recommended us a doctor that was just nearby our hotel, and he's a healer. He's a famous healer. She went to see him maybe 7 years ago, and she said, "You guys gotta go see him because he can heal you." It's like a magician, a shaman or whatever, things like that. So my mom said, we should go see this doctor. So we went to the hospital, and at the hospital they were like, "Oh, the doctor is not here today. You gotta go to his house. It's on this street, this number." So we went to his house. We knock on the door. Then the doctor opened the door. He said, "Come in my office." So we went in his office, and he said, "So what happens to you? What do you wanna talk about today?" And I look at my mom. I'm like, I have nothing. I have nothing to complain. Like, what should I say? I said that in French, so you don't really understand. So she said,
"That's crazy."
So she said, "Just find something so we can talk about this." So I'm like, "Oh, I have this in the back. I don't know. It's a little thing, but I just found like a little thing that I could talk about." And so he said, "I don't know. This is very minor. I don't know what is it. I don't know really how to heal it, but it's very minor. However, you came here for a really good reason, really important reason. I see something so much more important in you, so much more serious." Say, first thing, he do like this with his finger. He do like this in front of me. He say,
he was like tracing something.
Exactly.
He was looking at the diagram.
He can read
spiritual diagram.
Exactly. So he says, first thing I can see, you use your right brain so much more than your left brain. He would say 100% my right brain, 0% my left brain. So that means I'm much more emotional than logical. And
so he's saying left. What he's saying, left is logical.
I think so. Maybe I'm confusing right now, but I think so. Yeah.
Usually, left is the creative side, right is the logical side.
Okay, so then I'm confusing it. Yeah.
So he's saying the right. So he's saying you're using your logical side too much, or using your creative side too much.
I'm using my emotional side.
The creative, the artist side.
Which is true. That I used to use so much more my emotional side more than my logical side. Now I think I've learned how to balance it. So I'm so much less emotional than before. But the doctor says that. So I'm like, okay, that must be true, I think it resonates pretty true to me. And then he say, this is because you lost your bottom chakra.
The root.
The roots chakra. I'm like, wow, shit, I lost the root chakra. I'm like, okay. Say, but this I can heal. So we do like this, boom, 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 boom. See, I've put back your roots chakra. I'm like, how do you feel? He say, how do you feel right now? I think it's placebo effects, but I'm like, I feel so much lighter. And this and that. I say, okay. But then I see some other things. You do like this. Do you have a problem in your eyes? I'm like, yeah, from this eye, I can't see much. If I close this eye, everything is blurry. I say, I know. He say, I know. I'm like, shit. He say, but this is very serious. He say, in 17 years, you're gonna be blind.
The fuck?
Shit. I say, yeah, it's 17 years, you're gonna get blind. And he said, this is very serious. I'm the only one that can heal. And I gotta heal it. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then he say, but my rates are a bit expensive, but I think you gotta use it. So 100 US. I'm like, wow, shit. I look at my mom. My mom's just like, wow, we gotta go to the ATM, It's like, because we trust our mom's friend, you know, she recommended us this doctor, so
Right, right.
everything
But
he says.
she probably got a little commission on the side.
And then no, the friend is really good friend from France, is no commission. And then
Who
and
knows?
then we say, wow, that's crazy. And then we say, and my mom, what does she has? And he said, no, one person at a time. I'm like, no, if my mom has something, we go to the ATM, we
We
withdraw
gotta
for both,
we
right?
yeah we gotta do it in one shot. We gotta use more of our logical side. We try to use our right brain right now, bro.
Exactly. Exactly. And then he started looking to my mom. Tuk 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 tuk. He said, wow, I see something crazy in you. Psychological disorder, delusional disorder. You had this since you're born. And he said, your brother has this too, and I can heal your brother through you and everything. I'm like, right now I'm listening, you know, and I'm analyzing the person.
Right.
And he keep repeating, like, what is 100 US against the vision, you know, it's nothing, this, that. And the more he talk, the more I figure it out, the more I'm reading his own intention. And the more I'm reading that this guy is not a healer. This guy is not a healer. And then as the moment I say, I'm not gonna do it, I don't mind getting blind. You know, I'm not scared of getting blind, because this is part of life experience. If I'm getting blind in 17 years, I'm gonna be 40, and I think experiencing life without the eyes will be such a different experience. As soon as I'm starting saying that, the guy starting getting mad.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then at the moment he started getting mad, I'm like, I'm never gonna pay this guy. And then he started continuing the things, and at the end I'm like, but well, at least you healed you've put back my roots chakra.
My chakra. Thank you.
I
appreciate that.
And he's like, no, I never put back your roots chakra.
Oh.
How could I put back your roots chakra if you didn't pay me and everything? And then I was like, that's the proof that this guy is. So I was like, we're gonna think about it. We're gonna maybe come back tomorrow. If we don't come back, don't wait for us. And then we left.
I love it.
And so this is directly the dark side. People that try to scam you through fear, and that's the worst. He's letting you know you're gonna get blind and asking you money for that. That's crazy.
Armel, you know what that is? This is how I perceive that. And this is why I love going to these beginning civilizations. Turkey, India, I'm sure. Like, I've been to Turkey. I was there for like 3 months. I'm sure you're experiencing it in India, Vietnam. I'm sure like there are stories like this in the concept of the third world. Again, I don't know exactly. I have to research. Why do we call these places third world countries? I don't know. Maybe it's because they're truly embedded in the third dimension. But my love from these experiences comes from the realization when you're navigating through these very tangible, extremely vivid human worlds, you start to see the basic code of the entire matrix. The exact systems that human beings have been practicing for thousands upon thousands of years will reveal itself to you in the most basic, most almost vivid, it's like so real, it's surreal experiences, and they're so simple because it's just like the classic story of the man who gives you poison but has the antidote.
Exactly.
That's the classic beginning of business arbitrage. And it's so funny because you fast forward into the future, first world, New York City. Buy a computer, right? But what happens? Your computer needs to be updated. Your computer has malware, has viruses, has this and that. So you need to then buy the antivirus. You need to get the update. But it's the same game. Yeah. It's the same exact game. And at the basic level, you have somebody who has some kind of knowledge He claims he has some kind of knowledge, an extra layer or an extra connectivity to some kind of knowledge. And using that knowledge, he will then sow and create fear. And with that fear, he then creates dependency, addiction. He then creates control. And this reminds me of one of the most famous, my favorite scenes. You know, I'm a big movie head. Mel Gibson created a movie called Apocalypto. Now, this movie was about the Aztec times. It follows the story of a young, Mexican man and his family, but he gets abducted by the Aztec society civilization. He gets taken into slavery, and his wife and his child are like left behind. The whole village gets ransacked. So he goes on this journey. We follow this character as he gets taken to the Aztec civilization, the city, the modern day city of that time. And he's getting taken up to the temple to get sacrificed to the gods. And there's a scene when he's at the top of the temple and he's next in line to get cut open, heart ripped out in front of thousands of people because everybody's worshiping the priests at the top of the temple.
Wow.
And at the top of the temple, you have these priests and these like, you can tell royal, they have jewels, and they're like these great costumes. And there's like this little fat kid who's like the son of the prince. He's just fat, and you can tell he's obese. He's like the symbol of greed. And he's happy because he can't wait to see the next person get sacrificed, cut open, and they spill the blood and the head down the stairs. You know all that. But there's a scene where they're all gathered, and as they're gathered, they all start to look at each other. The royals, they look at each other with a little smile as they look up to the sky, and there's an eclipse taking place. The moon starts to eclipse the sun. And slowly, as the moon eclipses the sun, everything goes dark, and the people start crying and pleading and just help us, save us. Like, oh my God, they think the world's about to end. But then the priest, the shaman, he looks at the royal, and the royal gives him the smile, and then he says, "Fear not, fear not. You are now in the presence of our God King, and he will bring light back to you." And then, boom, they killed that dude, they sacrificed him, blah, more blood to the god, and then the moon slowly passes, and the light returns, and everybody cheers. Everybody exclaims. And they look at each other again. And this is the root. This is the root. Just that little bit of knowledge of astrological mathematics and timing was able to control the masses of people who have no idea how the astrology works. And thus is the beginning of true control, true domination, true deception. And you just saw a mini version of that, just in a simple guy who is like, I can see your chakras. I can heal you.
So it's all about now you and I, people from the Western world, or some the younger generations, we are aware of it now, and we can be full like that, right?
Oh yeah.
We know that we gotta get tuned to our intuition, and we know that if we feel the thing is not right, we should not do it. And if we feel the thing is true, if we feel the thing resonate with us, then let's do it. Otherwise, we just don't do it.
It's like what I spoke about when I mentioned that Brandon was telling me about some of his lessons. Shout out Brandon. And he was talking about, people like Bashar, right, who are channeling some of these light beings. But the message he got was along the lines of, if something is encouraging and promoting and supporting more free will, more choice, more options, more freedom, that entity is probably most likely more on the spectrum of light and love and compassion. Now, if something is trying to limit your free will, trying to control it, trying to have a price tag on it, then that naturally leans towards that reptilian dark energy. And it's crazy because this example, as you were telling the story, I was laughing because one of my uncles, who has, throughout his life always been very sensitive to the, I guess you can say, the unknown, right? By many accounts, he has psychic ability, or telepathic ability. And this is one of my uncles who practices purple star astrology, which I told you about. People can research about what that is. It's a ancient Chinese form of chart reading. But he told me that I remember when I was young, we were walking through the night market here in Taiwan, and sometimes you'll see a lot of palm readers, fortune tellers, and whatnot. And as a young child, I always ask questions, right? Is it real? Like, can they really do what they promise they can do, and this and that and whatnot? And my uncle told me something that always stuck with me. But he basically said, when somebody is endowed with real power, with true power, when someone is given true ability, true phenomenon, supernatural ability, actually that power is a curse. That power is something that they didn't ask for, they didn't want, because logically a human is not a god and never will be a god. Although innately our energy is internal, but the finite version of a human is not really designed to wield the infinite power that's within us.
I don't think so.
Hold up, because this is the loophole, right? Because a human, again, given a certain power or blessed with a power, now the debate happens: will they exploit it? Will they use it for good or bad? Everybody thinks they will use it for good. But here's my point from what my uncle told me, is that anybody with true power and true sensitivity, that power is more like a curse. And thus, in order to balance the endowment of that power, there has to be charity. So the truest, most powerful psychics never charge money. They don't charge people. They give it. It's a gift that has to be given. Now, when you see and meet people who do charge money, you are now dealing with people who do not have true power. They are creating and playing in the deception. Because that goes back to the philosophy of if there is a God, an all-powerful universe, it is extremely compassionate and giving. Yet, nature is still a jungle. So within the confines of nature, which is where we are, we're still humans, we're in the confines, our consciousness is being filtered through our mechanisms that are brains and electromagnetic systems, ancient systems that have evolved over time from animals, reptiles, whatnot. So again, I want to go back to the point where I know you're very much along the lines of, you believe you're a god and you want to wield the power of a god. But naturally, you're going to encounter instances where you do have people who are claiming potential supernatural powers and using it to exploit. So what's your take?
Yeah, I think first of all, the thing you say about the people that charge you money and people that don't charge you money is very interesting. And I was saying that just yesterday. I was saying that, when I go to a restaurant with a woman, at the end of the restaurant, if the woman is waiting for me to pay, I'm not going to pay. If the woman has the intention to pay, then I want to pay, right? And yesterday we went to Auroville. So Auroville, for people that doesn't know, Auroville is the city just near Pondicherry where it has been created in 1950 by Sri Aurobindo and the mother. The mother is a French person born in Paris, French woman that have learned the teaching of Sri Aurobindo. And after Sri Aurobindo passed away, his dream that was creating a city where all the humans were reunified into unity, right? And the mother made this dream happen, and she built this city. So everyone that don't know about the city, you just gotta Google it. And
Auroville,
Auroville.
Right, it's kind of like a play off Auroville.
But Sri Oro is Aurobindo, the name of the guy, Oro, and then Ville, like city in French. So I think that's how they did it. So basically, Auroville is a city built on the galaxy system model. The earth of the city is the matrimondial, is a golden sphere, big golden sphere where you can practice not meditation but concentration. It's the same. But people think about meditation is concentration, and I'm gonna practice it tomorrow.
Nice.
But well, just to make it short, yesterday we went there. We took the bicycle in the city, and I love to just go and take, and there's, I don't know, nothing plans. You know, we just take the bicycle and we drive, and and I put myself to
Just flow.
exactly to everything we said, like intuition. I was like, which road looked the best to me, I will take it. You know, which road feels right, I will take it. And we took it. We ride randomly deep in the forest. I can put some clips. Maybe I was recording with the Meta Ray Ban, deep in the forest, until the time where I meet a very old lady, French lady, in the forest waiting for us, and she was like, "Are you visiting? Do you like some tea?" And like, yeah, I would like some tea. And she said, come to my house. I'm gonna make a tea ceremony for you. And
Nice.
and this person was actually very connected with Taiwan. And as soon as she learned that I was coming from Taiwan, she was like, "That's incredible. You know, the universe brought you directly to me, and universe brought me directly to her." And we had the whole ceremony of tea that was magical. And at the end, she didn't ask for any money. It took an hour of her time, where she was like doing everything so nicely, and she didn't ask any of money, and she didn't ask anything. She was like, "Okay, have a great day. I'm happy we met." And I was like, "But is there anything I can give for that?" And she was like, "Oh, well, there is a donation box there if you want to." And then I give generously. So that comes back to exactly what you said.
Right. If you have abundance, there really is never a feeling of I need to take something from someone. So it kind of connects back to, like, I mean, you live in Taiwan now. You've been to Japan. So the Eastern philosophies, at least the greatest thinkers, the greatest philosophers of the Eastern time, people like Lao Tzu, Confucius, of course, Siddhartha, Buddha. There are these great teachers and philosophers who, in a very strange way, start talking about like these. It's like a parable. It's almost like contradictory. Like classically, what Lao Tzu is like, to lead people, you have to stand behind them. To go out, you have to go in, right? To figure out everything in the universe, you have to understand everything inside yourself. So it's like all this outside, inside, inside, outside, and it can be very hard. I think it is hard for us to try to understand that, because we are born into such a physical kind of straight path system, right? We want things to be straight, and we want things to be black and white all the time. We always want them to be defined.
And I think it's all due to our education, the education we received, and that's thing that, the future. I'm so optimistic about the future, because when I hear people like Gary Vee, people like Deepak Chopra, people like Tony Robbins that are promoting a new system of education where we need to let the children do what they love and not forcing them to be like a doctor because it's going to make money, I think I'm very optimistic about the future. And that's the system of school that there is in Auroville, and they're writing all of those. They are like, we need to understand what is the purity of the children's, and we should not remove it to them. We should not remove this from them, because when they're born, they know the purpose they have on this earth, and they know what they have to do. And this is, again, our higher self communicating through passion to make sure we are on the right path to realize our purpose. And if we bring them in school and we tell them, no, actually, if you want to become a painter, that's not going to make you money, and you're going to become a homeless. And through fear, you're going to remove this passion, and this person may never be happy.
Right. And it's interesting, right? Because even in Auroville, you're living in Auroville now too, right? Technically, you're living there. You're experiencing it. You're absorbing it. You're watching the people, how they act. I think when you say that, the thing I always think about when it comes to like communities or communes, right? These systems of groups and how groups of humans gather. I always wonder about like contribution. How do contributions work in a system or a governance amongst people. Because after all, we are still animals that take up space and we consume resource. So in a place like Auroville, like I'm curious, like if somebody was to go there and naturally, I guess the group would imagine what will be this person's role. And it starts with like the children, right? It's like the role. What is the contribution that this individual will contribute to the group or to the society? Or are there requirements, or do they let it be free? Like what is that? What is their world like? What kind of system do they run?
So I got from what I've heard, you gotta arrive in the city with a certain amount of money, give this money to the community, right, to help keep building it because it's still in construction. You know, it's been a while, it's here, but it's still continuously in construction. So you need to apport a certain amount of money, and then after you just do whatever you like on exchange. So for example, you're gonna do you love to cook, so you're gonna open a small restaurant, right? There is a guy, a Scottish guy who has a huge local farm. I will send you his Instagram later. Very famous guy. He has a huge local farm and he grows only organic vegetables, and he's promoting how the local food is important to heal the world and to reverse climate change. So he's promoting all this. So this is his gift. He gives back to people. Then another person, maybe a yoga teacher. She knows how to do yoga. The person I've met, she's a tea ceremony person. She just do the tea ceremony. She did it for free, without any waiting anything in exchange. But because she did that, if I was living there, I would have make a video for her. You know, I was like, to give back, you know, I can make a video for you. You know what I mean? So I was discussing this with my brother, and he was like, oh, you know, money will always exist. Money will always be here, everything like that. But something that came very black and white to me right now in this period, like epiphany, as you said, is that we are transitional beings.
Hell yeah.
We are in a transition. Right now we are using paper bills, right? To represent on the three-dimensional world, to represent the exchange of energy.
Of value.
The exchange of energy has to be represented as a piece of bill. Now we switch it to credit card. It's already, you know, different. You can just tap and boom, the exchange of energy is made like that. And then what's going to be next after the bills, after the credit card, after this, what's going to be next? That's the question I asked myself. And the woman yesterday told me this. She was like, you know, it's all about frequency. It's not about money or, of course, energy, but it's about frequency. So if you can elevate your frequency to reach the point of, let's say, Bill Gates, let's say some very successful, if you just put yourself on this higher state of frequency, you can live a life as abundant as those persons. If you drive back your frequencies on the level of someone that is miserable, you're gonna be miserable. And everyone can switch those frequencies up like that. And it's all about awareness. It's all about knowing that it is possible. And that's why I'm grateful that I've got the opportunity to experience life in, for example, 5-star hotels, you know, business class.
The contrast.
This, that, and then you experience life in more poor area. And so by experiencing that, you can understand that actually everyone is the same person. It's just a matter of frequency. And they will see me as their brother if I'm in the slum or if I'm in the business class. I can relate to those just by changing my frequencies.
Right. And it's interesting too, because when you were saying about the first guy you met being conscious of people's intentions, light, dark intentions, as you said that, the first thing that came to mind is our ability to communicate with animals, right? Because we're still animals. We're still in an animal hardware. And that's something that's very fascinating, because until the future really transitions our consciousness beyond this biological component of flesh, blood, sweat, gland, meat, bone, matter, we will always be attached to nature. And through that, you're going to start to realize we still abide by these. There's certain things that science has not caught up to yet, but intentions,
Exactly.
frequencies, you know when an animal doesn't want you there.
Exactly.
Or you know when an animal wants love, stuff like that. And somehow the modern man has drifted away from these like sensibilities.
We
It's
lost.
just the frequency sense.
You said everything. We are nature. We are nature. Nature is the perfect side of us, and we lost it right now. We lost our nature, but it's for us to find it much better. So
to rediscover it.
remove the mind, remove your thoughts, remove your attachment to anything on this world, and just let the life flow. Just do the things as they come to you, and your life will be so perfect. It will be perfect.
Right.
Like yesterday,
Right.
I could have.
It's a perfect in the imperfection.
Yeah, remove the attachment to outcome. Remove your and do the things by passion, and boom, life is perfect. It's like a tree. A tree is perfect. It's beautiful. It's like a flower. It's beautiful. We are the same. We are exactly the same, just with the mind on top of
Right.
it.
Right. It's a constant editor, a constant pruner of that very tree. But it is fascinating though that, even the concept of frequency as a currency, frequency and I guess giving and gifting your natural innate talent. And I think that's a big thing too. Like,
This is what is in Xiaoba. I'm sure that's how they live in Xiaoba. It's all about frequencies. They already know that this, it's natural. It's natural. If your frequencies are high, you are abundance. If your frequencies are
Right.
low, you are not abundance.
And the next question I think that always hits, because this comes easy to feel and to express when we are in a state of passion.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think you're reading my mind right now.
When we're in an alignment of passion or purpose. And I think that's one of the biggest, we're in this time where that's one of the biggest mysteries for most people is, what's my purpose? What's my talent? What am I supposed to do? What am I meant to do? Who am I meant to become? And then you have like the top Google search results is, how do I meet people in real life? And that's directly correlated to me to what's my purpose? Who am I meant to become? Because it goes back to us being imitative creatures. We're looking for someone to model after. And it's almost like we're all lost. We're so lost right now that we're like, there's so many people and options to model after, to become. Like, I can become this guy. I can become that guy. I can become this girl. I can become that person, right? So we're bombarded with all this, and it's like you said, the mind is like, but like deep down, you do have a contribution. Each and every one of us has,
And
like,
it's all about
a true
tuning in.
contribution.
It's all about tuning into your inner self without thinking about external information that have been inputted in your head. For example, you got to make money, you got to do this. That's external information. You got to tune in into your inner self to understand what really drives you. Remove
That's
anything.
the intuition.
Remove anything about money, about success, about what people are gonna think about you, about all those. Just tuning into yourself and ask yourself, what do I really love? What is the thing that today I'm gonna do and I'm gonna love to do it?